Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to break down a really essential framework that honestly keeps companies from going off the rails: corporate governance. Now, for all of you studying business, listen up, because this is a core concept you absolutely have to master. So, let's just jump right in with a huge question. When you think about a big company, who's really calling the shots? Is it the CEO, the face of the company? Is it the shareholders, the people who actually own the stock? Or is there somebody else pulling the strings? Well, the answer, it's a lot more complicated than you might think. And to figure that out, here's our game plan. We're going to start with a simple definition of what corporate governance even is, then we'll get into why it matters so much. After that, we'll unpack the core principles, see how they actually work in the real world, and finally, we'll tie it all back to what makes a business truly successful. All right, let's get into it. What exactly is corporate governance? Think of this as the essential vocabulary you're going to need, not just for your exams, but for your entire career in business. The easiest way to think about it is like this. Corporate governance is the company's internal operating system. It's the rule book, the code that dictates how everything gets done, from the biggest decisions in the boardroom all the way down. It's the entire framework that keeps a huge, complex organization pointed in the right direction. And this is just so crucial because governance isn't some vague, abstract idea. It creates a very real structure. It answers the most important questions, like who gets the final say, who's on the hook if things go wrong, and maybe the trickiest one of all, how do you balance the needs of your investors, who want profit, with the needs of your employees, your customers, and the wider community? Okay, so now we know what it is, but let's talk about why it's so incredibly important. This is not just some boring textbook theory. When governance goes wrong, the consequences can be very, very real. Yeah, history is absolutely littered with cautionary tales. When governance fails, you get epic corporate scandals. Think about Enron, a company destroyed by massive accounting fraud that was basically rubber-stamped by a weak board. Or Satyam over in India. In both cases, a total lack of oversight and weak controls just vaporized thousands of jobs and billions of dollars of ordinary people's savings. And this slide really lays it all out, doesn't it? It shows the two very different paths a company can take. It really is a choice. On one side, weak governance. That road leads to mistrust, fraud, and a whole lot of legal trouble. But on the other side, strong governance. Well, that's how you build confidence with investors, earn a great reputation, and create a company that's truly built to last. So let's move on and look at the actual principles that form the bedrock of good governance. You can almost think of these as the essential tools that every ethical leader needs in their toolkit. First up, and you could argue it's the most important one, is transparency. Because honestly, without this one, all the others just fall apart. Transparency just means the company has to be an open book. It's about being upfront and honest about what's really going on. The good, the bad, all of it. There's no hiding the details, no spinning the truth. It's how you build genuine trust with everyone. And here's a perfect real-world example. A transparent company doesn't try to hide its financials. It regularly publishes financial reports that have been checked by outside auditors, and it makes its board's decisions public for anyone to see. All right, next up is accountability. This one goes hand in hand with transparency. It's all about taking ownership of your actions and, of course, their results. This is the principle that makes sure everyone, from the CEO down to a brand new hire, is responsible for what they do. It stops people from trying to pass the buck and creates a culture where everyone takes ownership. And you see this in action all the time. When profits take a nosedive or a big project is a total failure, an accountable CEO doesn't just make excuses. They have to stand up in front of the board, in front of the shareholders, and explain exactly what went wrong and what they're going to do to fix it. Okay, for everyone with a notepad out, this is a great slide to remember. We've talked about transparency and accountability, but good governance also demands responsibility, thinking about the company's impact on society. It requires fairness in how you treat everyone involved. It needs independence, especially from board members, to keep decisions objective. And of course, a deep, deep commitment to integrity and managing risk properly. So these principles all sound pretty good in theory, right? But how does a company actually put them into practice? How do you turn these big ideas into a system that actually works day to day? Well, it all comes down to this classic structure, the chain of accountability. The senior management team that runs the company every day, they are held accountable by the board of directors. And who holds the board accountable? the shareholders, the ultimate owners of the company, who have the power to vote them in or out. Now, to make sure that chain is strong, global frameworks like the ones from the OECD, that's the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, they recommend these specific rules. Things like separating the CEO and chairman jobs. Why? To prevent any one person from holding way too much power. Or making sure you have independent directors on the board, people from the outside who can challenge management and make sure decisions are truly objective. Okay, let's pull all these threads together. Let's connect this back to what every business ultimately cares about, its success and its long-term survival. What's the real payoff for doing all this? I love this quote from the Nobel Prize winner Amartya Sen because it just cuts right to the heart of the matter. Being ethical, having good governance, it isn't just about doing the right thing. It's actually a really smart way to do business. It's good economics. So here's the bottom line, the main takeaway. Good governance is not a cost you have to put up with. No, it's an investment that gives you a huge competitive advantage. It attracts investors because they trust you with their money. It builds an amazing reputation that brings in the best talent and the most loyal customers. And we see the proof of this out in the world. Look at companies like Infosys. They built their incredible success on a rock-solid foundation of good governance. And they proved that you can make your shareholders very wealthy while also taking great care of your employees, your customers, and the community. These two goals don't conflict. They actually feed into each other. And so we'll leave you with this final question to think about. After everything we've discussed, all the rules, the structures, the regulations, is that really enough? Or does true, lasting, good governance come from something deeper? Does it come from the values, the integrity, and the ethical culture that you build inside an organization from the ground up? What do you think?